Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then hopefully we'll have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But, yeah, light docket this week, not much really to get into. We got 3 retirements that we're going to acknowledge. And we're also going to acknowledge an extension, a coaching extension, some controversial events in the world of European soccer. And then we close it out with a preview of this weekend's UFC pay-per-view, which has not 1, not 2, but 3 championship matches. So we'll get into all that. So with all that, let's start it off. The first of our 3 retirements, and the one that obviously the most notable, Alex Smith. Longtime quarterback Alex Smith announced his NFL retirement this past Monday, capping a 16-year journey that started as a number 1 pick in the NFL draft and ended after his improbable return from a gruesome injury. Smith, who will turn 37 next month, announced his decision in a 2-minute and 12-second video posted to Instagram, saying he wants to spend more time with his family. He was released by the Washington football team last month, but was the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year in 2020 for getting back on the field after an injury 2 years earlier that nearly cost him his right leg. After he suffered a compound leg fracture in November 2018, many assumed Smith's career was over. He required 17 surgeries to stem an infection in his right leg, which was nearly amputated. He needed to wear an external fixator on his leg for 8 months and developed drop foot. His battle to return to action was the subject of an ESPN documentary, Project 11, that aired last spring, and Smith kept fighting, passing numerous tests and milestones along the way to being cleared by doctors. But Smith said having a football in his hands again while working out at the center for the Intrepid allowed him to feel stronger, more driven, and what once seemed impossible began to come into focus. He had a team of doctors helping him along the way and benefited from his time at the facility, which typically works with wounded military personnel. Last Monday, Smith told ESPN's Outside the Lines that he recently went snowboarding with his father and children. He had not been snowboarding since he was in college, and the moment stood out to him and helped solidify his decision to retire. Smith also said on OTL that he visited the Jacksonville Jaguars and his former college coach, Urban Meyer, and debated signing with them. He said he left the meeting excited for what Meyer was building, but he said he was already weighing retirement. Smith told ESPN's Stefan Yabel that overcoming the injury also helped him gain a better perspective. At this time a year ago, there was severe doubt in the Washington organization about Smith's ability to even participate in training camp, let alone make a roster. Numerous people in the franchise would say if anyone can do it, Alex can, but they also didn't make concrete plans involving him. Still, Smith fought his way back onto the 53-man roster, and after being inactive for the first 4 games, finally played again in Week 5 when starter Kyle Allen was injured. It did not go well that day for Smith, who passed for 37 yards and was sacked 6 times, including on his first series by the Rams' Aaron Donald. It showed Smith and others what his leg could handle. Smith later started 6 games. Washington went 5-1 in those games and helped the organization win the NFC East division title with a 7-9 record. But a bone bruise forced him to miss 3 of the last 4 games, including a playoff loss to the eventual Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Still, the fact that he played impressed others, and he earned 49 out of a possible 50 votes to win the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award. Washington released Smith last month and signed veteran quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. Smith initially expressed his intent to keep playing, but went unsigned more than a month into free agency. Smith was drafted number 1 overall by the San Francisco 49ers in 2005 and spent 8 seasons in San Francisco. After Colin Kaepernick's rise in San Francisco, the Niners traded Smith to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he spent 5 seasons and helped Kansas City reach the playoffs 4 times. Kansas City traded up in the 2017 draft to select Patrick Mahomes, and after that season, traded Smith to Washington for cornerback Kendall Fuller in a 3rd-round pick. Smith started 16 games in Washington, which went 11-5 in those games. The team's record with anyone else starting in the past 3 years was 6-27. For his career, Smith started 167 games, and his teams went 99, 67, and 1 in those contests. He passed for 35,650 yards, 199 touchdowns, and 109 interceptions. His 46 interceptions since 2013 were the second fewest by a quarterback with at least 70 starts, trailing only Green Bay's Aaron Rodgers. Smith then thanked the fans of the teams he represented, Niner Nation, the Chiefs Kingdom, or the Burgundy and Gold. To all the men I had the privilege of standing with and playing alongside, thank you, he said. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for helping me believe in myself and in the impossible. A great career, which could have been better if not for, the injury and all that. But, great moments for all those teams. He had great moments with San Francisco. His standout moment in San Francisco was definitely that unforgettable NFC divisional playoff game in January of 2012 against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, that was, his breakout moment in San Francisco. Had some good moments in Kansas City. And then, of course, what he did in Washington this past year. And, we wish him all the best in his retirement. And now he can go on being a husband and a father and so much more. And, we'll wait and see on that. So Alex Smith, we thank you for the memories. We thank you for the inspiration. And we thank you for Alex Smith. And on behalf of MF and I don't know how many of his games that we covered, but for the games that we did cover, it was a pleasure. And, we wish you all the best, and definitely wish you all the best in your future endeavors. No doubt about that. So not much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Alex Smith calling it a career this past Monday.
Yeah, and it was kind of shocking, but I think a lot of people thought that when Alex Smith suffered that gruesome leg injury, a lot of people thought that his career was over. They thought it was like another Joe Theismann situation, just for the mere fact that he came back and was able to play at such a high level for the Washington football team. It's a miracle in itself. I mean, there's really no doubt about it. If I actually got to hear his story, and yes, I did follow the ESPN documentary. That was an incredible documentary, a must watch. Definitely, if you get a chance to see it. And then I remember one of my personal favorite, Kelly Clarkson. She has the Kelly Clarkson show now on, wherever your local affiliate is in your area in the United States. For us, it's NBC 10 in Providence, Rhode Island. That's where we could watch the show. And she had Terry Bradshaw with her, and they were talking to Alex Smith and his wife, and they were talking about the long journey and, the surgeries and how it happened, what motivated them to come back. And one thing that we were all saying was that it was almost impossible. Terry Bradshaw even went out on a limb. He told Alex, he's like, Alex, I really thought you should have retired. He's like, I really thought you should have just hung your cleats up right then and there. There was no way for you to come back. There was nothing else you could have proven yourself. And actually, it was his wife that motivated him to go one more time, to come back and play the game, because she was like that. It would have been a what if. What if you had to retire? Would you have any regrets? Would you have any second thoughts of, did I really do the right thing? At least for him to come back, to play at such a level, and to do what he did, I think it was one of those times where he can say, you know what? I've overcome Everybody thought I couldn't do this, and I did it. I got nothing left to prove. I'm done. And I think that's one of the most fulfilling things that he could have ever done in his career. To know that he can walk away happy with his family, and to think about the journey he had to go through. And remember, a lot of people said that he was a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback. A great game manager is what they called him. You know, he was a check down guy. He never threw the deep ball. He was always looking for the second and third receivers. He was a move the chains type guy. Was never explosive. Never that explosive guy who bomb one for 60 to 70 yards. He was never that kind of guy. He was a short intermediate quarterback that threw balls down the field and was a good game manager. Never got himself in any big time trouble in that situation. He did throw some interceptions. He did get fumbled a few times. So unfortunately, he had to run for his life a couple of times because of the fact that the offensive line that he had weren't really that great. He had some postseason success, but he never got to the big game, never got to the Super Bowl, never had that kind of moment in his career. That was very unfortunate. And as a matter of fact, if you remember, he was the guy who was the starter before Patrick Mahomes took over. And we all remember the day that when he got traded from Kansas City to, I believe it was Washington that he went to, and we all flipped. We all kind of freaked out and said, is Mahomes really ready for the moment? Yeah. Patrick Mahomes basically said, oh, you don't think I'm ready for the moment? Okay, watch this. And 3 years later, he's now one of the biggest names in the NFL. He's one of the biggest superstars, if not the superstar. I think there's another guy named Tom Brady that'll beg to differ because, you know, hello, he just won his 7th Super Bowl. But Alex Smith came into 2 very good situations with 2 very good teams, then going to Washington. And the thing was that, you know, a lot of people thought that, you know, he was going to be good, maybe can get him to a division title, whatever it may be. And the injury was so scary that a lot of people thought he may never come back. But he did. He did come back. He became the comeback player of the year, which was richly deserved, well-deserved, no doubts in my mind. And now I can just say that, you know, it was a life well lived. And I hope that I hope we haven't seen the last of him in the NFL. I would really love for him to come back, maybe as an analyst or a commentator, because it seems like that's become the new norm now. Once your career is over, you start to work on the other side of the window. Now you're going to be more of an analyst type guy, and I think he has a wealth of knowledge that's going to be great for the NFL. If that's for NFL Network, ESPN, Fox, CBS, ABC, because you know ABC is going to be getting a whole bunch of games coming up in the near future, so we could see him there. I think it's going to be a great situation, and I wish the guy nothing but the best. I think he's going to do whatever he does in his next career. I think he's going to do very well, and you know, obviously the health is always the biggest thing, you know, and then from there, we'll see what happens. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
We move on to our next retirement, and that is LaMarcus Aldridge. Only a few weeks after signing with the Brooklyn Nets, 7-time NBA All-Star LaMarcus Aldridge announced his retirement on social media. Aldridge, the second overall pick in the 2006 NBA draft, spent his career with the Portland Trail Blazers and San Antonio Spurs before signing with the Nets. Players from around the NBA were shocked at Aldridge's abrupt retirement, but showed him support in his difficult decision. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge, he signed with Brooklyn. Brooklyn became a super team, became a title contender. Are they still that with his retirement?
Well, yeah, I still believe they're still dangerous enough that they can still win the NBA championship. You still got the big three. You still have a big three in Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. You also got a good complementary player in Blake Griffin. LaMarcus Aldridge would have been a Power 5, and we've never had a Power 5 team like that ever in the history of the NBA. We've had a core 4. Everybody remembers the LA Lakers that had Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Gary Payton, and Karl Malone. And everybody thought, oh my God, that's unfair. And they went all the way to the NBA Finals and then lost to the Detroit Pistons. So, I mean, it's definitely one thing that if they had a Power 5, I don't even know how you would even be able to handle a team like that. But look, LaMarcus Aldridge was a really good player. His best years was with the Portland Trail Blazers. When he first started out, he was dominating for Portland, and he was a beast in that. And then went to San Antonio and had a modest success. Whenever you play with Greg Popovich, you just go up. Your value goes up. Your playing goes up. Everything that you've done is done pretty well for him. And then he transitioned, and his contract was getting a little too big, and they knew that the time was right. With all the injuries, with everything that was going on with them, it was only a matter of time that maybe it was time for a change. And then to sign and end up with the Brooklyn Nets, we're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And this was right off the heels of Blake Griffin signing. It was like a domino effect. It went Harden, then Griffin went about a couple of weeks to about a month later, and then within a week and a half, LaMarcus Aldridge signs with them. So you had a Power 5, but the thing was, injuries was really derailing them. And like we said a couple of weeks ago, when it came to the injuries with Julian Edelman in the NFL, the injuries were starting to pile up, and the body was just not responding. And it got to a point where you had to throw in the towel. And it's a damn shame, because the one thing that has eluded him was the NBA championship. He has not won an NBA title that I can remember. I don't know if he was when San Antonio. I don't know if he was on the team with San Antonio when they won the title with Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if he was on that team. I'm going to have to double check, because I don't think he has an NBA championship. That's the only thing that I could think of that has eluded him. Without a doubt, one of the nicest players that can ever play the game. One of the most hard-nosed and grizzly type players. Starting his career, like I said, in Portland, and just making his way right through and getting all the way, to the end. And there's really nothing more to say. There's really nothing more to add. So Anthony Florio, it was very unfortunate that he was unable to win. And actually, no, I am correct. He never won an NBA championship with the team. So very unfortunate that he never got there. But, he was an NBA All-Star. He was a second and third All NBA team, rookie team first of the year, all rookie team, and not bad for a guy who was prominent as one of the best defensive players, especially when he came out of the Big 12. Big 12 Defensive Player in the Year in 2006, and was a perennial all-star when he played in the NBA. So I mean, he had a very good run, to say the very least. Like I said, it was just very unfortunate that he was unable to really sustain a lengthy career, even though his career started in Portland, went to San Antonio and Brooklyn. He's well respected, well loved, and he's, like I said, he's one of the good guys in the NBA. It's just unfortunate that his career, his career comes to an end, but his career numbers are pretty respectable. I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about his career in the NBA. I mean, lifetime career, he was a 19 points per game type guy, almost 8 rebounds per game. He played in 1,029 games, and that's about under a 14-year career. So I mean, it's unfortunate. He played great. Like I said, the only thing I just feel bad for him is that he never won the NBA title. That was the one thing that was eluding him. And I honestly believe if he would have stayed with Brooklyn, there's a very good chance he probably could have captured that title. It's yours.
Yeah. He retired last Thursday after saying he experienced an irregular heartbeat during his final game with the Brooklyn Nets. He posted a statement on social media saying the heart concerns he had during and after Brooklyn's loss to the Lakers on Saturday were one of the scariest things he's experienced. Aldridge, who was diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, an abnormality that can cause a rapid heartbeat as a rookie in 2007, said he feels better now after getting it checked out, but nevertheless decided to end his 15-year career. And he said, for 15 years, I put basketball first, and now it is time to put my health and my family first. You can definitely respect him for that. 7-time All-Star, signed with the Nets on March 28, and he had become their starting center. He missed the last 2 games with what the team had called a non-COVID-19 illness. And Nets general manager Sean Marks said the team fully supported his decision. He joined the Nets after reaching a buyout agreement with the San Antonio Spurs and provided his new team with an inside post presence that was one of the few things it was missing. The 6'11" Aldridge had the best of his 5 games with the Nets in the one before his heart trouble, scoring 22 points in a victory over New Orleans on April 7th. The number 2 pick in the 2006 draft was long one of the best at his position, averaging 19.4 points in a career that began with 9 seasons in Portland. Trailblazers general manager Neil Olshey praised Aldridge as one of the best players in the franchise's history. He then went on to play 5.5 seasons with the San Antonio Spurs and was a 5-time All-NBA selection. Spurs legendary coach Greg Popovich called Aldridge a consummate professional with a unique skill set and a deep respect for the game. We're grateful for his contributions both on and off the court during his time here in San Antonio. I'm proud of him for making this difficult decision, and we wish him and his family all of the best in the future. Aldridge thanked all 3 teams in his post, saying Portland gave him some unforgettable years after drafting a skinny Texas kid. He praised the Nets for allowing him to play his type of game when so many NBA teams are looking more to the perimeter instead of the post now. Aldridge said, "You wanted me for me. In a game that's changing so much, you asked me to come and just do what I do, which was good to hear." Aldridge missed time at the end of his rookie season to get treated and also sat out for 10 days in training camp in 2011 after his heart symptoms returned. His arrhythmia came back in 2017, and he missed 2 games that March. You never know when something will come to an end, Aldridge added, so make sure you enjoy it every day. I can truly say I did just that. And he certainly did. So on behalf of all of us here at Strictly Sports, we want to take this moment to wish LaMarcus Aldridge and his family and everybody around him all the very best in his future endeavors. We will definitely keep him in prayer for his health, and hope he gets better, and that he can go on. So with that being said, once again we say thank you for the memories. We thank you for the inspiration. And we thank you for LaMarcus Aldridge. You were you were a joy to watch in college at Texas, and then in the NBA. So we wish you all the very best, and feel better. That's all there is to say on that. We're definitely going to keep that in prayer, no doubt about that. So now we move on to our third and final retirement. Jordan Reed, former Washington football team tight end Jordan Reed, said he's retiring from the NFL because of lingering issues from multiple concussions suffered throughout his career. I was pretty sure I was going to keep playing. I was feeling good about where I was at, Reed told ESPN, but then I had some lingering effects and sought out professional help to get diagnosed. They told me it was not a good idea to keep playing. I agreed with them. Reed visited Orlando's Plasticity Center in late winter for a brain scan. He said based on the results, it was recommended he retire. Reed said it took him a while to make the decision. Reed played 7 seasons with Washington and spent last year with San Francisco, catching 355 passes with 28 touchdowns in a career often slowed by injuries. He played 10 games with the 49ers last season, catching 26 passes. When healthy, Reed scared opposing defenses because of his quickness to beat one-on-one matchups with linebackers and his size, 6'2", 242 pounds, to beat safeties. It's why in 2015, Reed caught 87 passes for 952 yards and 11 touchdowns, and was a key reason Washington won the NFC East. He made his lone Pro Bowl appearance after the following season. But injuries limited Reed throughout his career, as he never played in more than 14 games in a season and 3 times played in 10 or fewer. He suffered at least 7 documented concussions and dealt with soft tissue injuries as well as knee and toe issues. Fractures in his big toes led to him needing surgery and affected his game over multiple seasons. Reed said he's getting involved in the cannabis industry after relying on marijuana to help with his injuries. He said he already owns some assets in the industry, but is seeking partners. In 2019, Reed looked to have regained his game with a strong training camp. Reed said at the time he felt he was back to his old self, and numerous teammates and coaches agreed. But in the third preseason game, Atlanta safety Keanu Neal drilled Reed on a pass that resulted in the tight end having another concussion. Neal was fined $28,075 for the hit. Reed tried to return but never played in the game that season and signed with the 49ers in the offseason. Reed said he still felt the effects of that hit during the 2020 season. Reed entered the University of Florida as a quarterback but moved to tight end after 1 season. He played well enough for Washington to draft him in the 3rd round in 2013. So that's the story there. So once again, to Jordan Reed, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Jordan Reed. Solid tight end, no doubt about that. Great years in Washington, especially that 2015 season that we'll never forget. And we wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And just like with Alex Smith and LaMarcus Aldridge, you guys are definitely doing the right thing. There comes a time where you got to put the health first, not just the health first, but also the family first as well. So we definitely respect all the decision made by all 3 of these fine athletes. So not much more to say. Alex Smith, just wanted to spend time with his family and all that. LaMarcus Aldridge because of an irregular heartbeat condition, and now Jordan Reed calling it a career because of concussions, and he's only 30 years old.
Yeah, and that was the one that I really felt super bad for. Jordan Reed is an amazing player. Was a good player. I remember watching him with Washington, and I had much respect for the guy. He was a really good player. I really got nothing bad to say about him. But the thing was like you said, it was injuries. Injuries just really, really, really messed his career. It was very unfortunate. More than anything else, it was one of those where I just felt so bad. But there's really nothing more that I can say. I wish everybody nothing but the best. I wish them the best of luck in their future, especially in his endeavor, and I hope that he will be okay. In the very near future. So yeah, this was one of those tough announcements that we heard. It was unfortunate, like you said, 30 years old. But the thing is like you said, the health comes first, and that's the most important thing more than anything else. So, like I said, I wish him nothing but the best. Anthony, it's all yours.
Yeah, health does indeed come first. I mean, that's definitely been the motto of the story for the last year and change, hasn't it? So,
absolutely.
Yeah. But that could definitely be changing very soon, within the next month or so, especially in these parts. So,
yeah, especially with the news that we're getting, very, very, very optimistic. It might be go time for us in about a month or so. But I hope we gotta continue to what we're doing. We're on the right path. As long as we just continue what we're doing and not try to get into any shenanigans, and we should be, if everything goes the way that they're saying, yeah, we might be out of here. In the immortal words of Pat McAfee, we are just about, well, he claims we beat COVID. We haven't beaten COVID yet. At least for us, we haven't beaten it yet. But I think the way that our new governor has just said, if we hold on about one more month and we're still doing the trends that we're going, we might have just beaten this thing. But we'll see. We're still, we're not out of the woods yet. But I think we can say that the finish line is actually in sight for the first time. That we can actually say the finish line seems like we're in sight.
Boy, and I'll tell you, about a year or so ago, I had very high doubts, but who knows? Who knows? This nightmare could be over. So,
yeah. Well, they said May 7th. A lot of places in Rhode Island will open up, and this is just Rhode Island. So don't quote me on. If you're wondering about the rest of the states, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Only in Rhode Island, May 7th. I know they said that, especially for you, Anthony, for your church and everything else, that you guys could now have 80% of your congregation starting on May 7th.
Yep.
And 3 weeks after, if everything holds the way it does, no restrictions, 100%.
Amazing.
Everything will be reopened.
Amazing.
Restaurants will be reopened, social gatherings, there will be no limits, which means our group nights will probably happen at that point. We probably will get that will probably open us up to do group nights. That actually opens me up, because now my buddies at the RWA, the wrestling organization, they might start putting events together again. And if my schedule,
and the Civic Center.
Yeah, the Civic Center might be reopened for entertainment, I don't know for concerts, maybe not for concerts yet, but especially for athletic sports, wrestling, it will open up. And if that's the case, look out. Here we go.
Yeah.
So
definitely some optimism, but
yes.
but we definitely still have to put the health first right now. So,
absolutely.
Yep. So that's just the moral of the story. So, but anyways, moving on, some much happier news in the form of an extension. Just give me 1 second here. Okay. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he wants to be part of the post-Ben Roethlisberger era in Pittsburgh. And the Steelers on Tuesday signed their longtime coach to a 3-year extension that runs through the 2024 season. Tomlin is 145, 78, and 1 in 14 years with the Steelers, winning a Super Bowl and going to another. The franchise has reached the playoffs 9 times during Tomlin's tenure and captured its 7th AFC North division title under him in 2020, before losing to the upstart Cleveland Browns in the wild card round, the game that MF and I had, and oh boy, did we have a lot of fun with that. But for right now, MF, Mike Tomlin, we have covered so many Steeler games throughout the Tomlin era, heck, even during the Cowher era. But Mike Tomlin, 3-year extension, he's staying through at least 2024.
Yeah, and a lot of people were surprised, because a lot of people thought that, Tomlin did a good job, but the way that they collapsed, a lot of people thought Tomlin should have been fired. Tomlin's been getting a lot of heat for the last few years, but the thing is that the ownership is so loyal to their coaches. Even if you have a bad year, they don't want to fire you. The Rooney family will not do it. I don't know if it's just they're not afraid of the peer pressure, or they're just not afraid of the, because there's so much expectations year in and year out. And the one thing that we always hear is that, Tomlin should have been gone. Tomlin should have been gone. Look, you started 11-0. You literally faltered right at the very beginning, and you flame out in the wild card weekend, super wild card weekend, I should say. I stand corrected. I don't know what there is to say. But Tomlin has been one of the stalwart guys, and to really take over a team after Bill Cowher left. That was a real tough, tall order to do, but he did it. It was right after Super Bowl 40. Cowher retired, if I remember correctly. Actually, no. Cowher, when did he retire? A year or two after the Super Bowl?
I believe it was after the 2006 or 7 season.
Okay. And then Tomlin comes in, gets them a Super Bowl, wins their first one, which was Super Bowl 43, and then got them back again to Super Bowl 45, even though they lost to the Green Bay Packers. But think about that. 2 out of the 3 years, you got them to the ultimate game, the big one. So, and their teams have been very good. They've been year in and year out. They've had rivalries with the Patriots. They've gone after Kansas City. The blood feud between them and Baltimore, and the great battles we've seen and great games we've seen. Flory and myself have been fortunate enough to do, 12.5 games of the Steelers and the Ravens, and every time almost 90% of those games are always nail biters, down to the wire, last possession type games. We can talk about the game on Christmas. I think it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day that literally, we had
Christmas
that
2016.
one.
Christmas 2016.
Yes.
As part of a special Sunday Christmas doubleheader in 2016. And oh my goodness, that definitely ranks as one of our all-time favorite regular season games, especially with all those voice cracks I had at the end of it. I'm surprised I even had a voice left after that one.
I was afraid I was going to have to take over that day. But no, So Tomlin is one of the more well-respected guys. He's no nonsense, in your face. And he's one of the good guys. I know a lot of people says that, he's not really good with the media. Okay, I got it. I definitely agree with that. He is a little hard on the media. There's definitely no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, I got to say, I got so much respect for him, to say the very least. So I'm happy for Mike Tomlin. He deserves the contract extension. There's really nothing more to add. Florio, it's all yours.
Definitely. See what I have. All right. The Steelers went 12-5 in 2020, winning their first 11 games before stumbling down the stretch, including a blowout loss to the Cleveland Browns at home as part of Super Wildcard Weekend. The team is in the midst of a mini overhaul, particularly on offense after 2 assistants were let go, and center Marquise Pouncey and tight end Vance McDonald retired. Still, Ben Roethlisberger restructured his contract to lessen his salary cap hit, a move that helped the Steelers free up enough money to persuade wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster to return on a 1-year deal. The extension likely means Tomlin will stick around for whatever happens after the 39-year-old Roethlisberger retires. There is no succession plan in place for the future Hall of Famer, though Tomlin opting to sign the extension means he intends to be part of the process whenever Roethlisberger calls it quits. The agreement deepens Pittsburgh's extraordinary commitment to its head coaches. Listen to this, MF. The Steelers have had just 3 men in charge since hiring Chuck Noll in 1969. Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. Noll and Cowher are in the Hall of Fame. Tomlin already is 21st in NFL history in career wins and is one of just 2 coaches to begin their career with 14 consecutive non-losing seasons. Hold on one second here. Video just came up. All right. Before I was interrupted, the agreement also gives the Steelers some stability heading into the draft. They have the 24th overall selection and have glaring needs on the offensive line and at running back to bolster a ground game that finished last in the NFL in 2020. They also need to figure out at some point what they're going to do at quarterback. Tomlin and Roethlisberger have formed one of the most successful coach-QB tandems in the league during their long run together, though Tomlin pulled off a remarkable coaching trick in 2019 when the Steelers finished 8-8 despite losing Roethlisberger at halftime of Week 2 with a season-ending right elbow injury. Tomlin is remarkably popular within the locker room, though the team has been only modestly successful in the postseason since last reaching the Super Bowl a decade ago. The Steelers are 3-6 in the playoffs since 2011 and have advanced past the divisional round just once, falling to New England in the 2016-17 AFC Championship game that was played in January of 2017. A game MF and I were very much looking forward to, but ended up being over before it started. So, it is what it is there. But nonetheless, Tomlin definitely one of the best coaches in the game today. And, those Steeler teams have been just so damn fun to watch all these years. I mean, MF and I have always, anytime we see an opportunity to call an exciting Steeler game, we always jump right at it. And I know I damn sure wanted that wild card game with Cleveland. Even though Baltimore and Tennessee was the more appetizing matchup, there was just something about that Cleveland-Pittsburgh game that really stood out to me. I wanted it, and we did it, and oh boy, did we have a lot of fun with it. But nonetheless, though, Pittsburgh is one of those top teams in the AFC, obviously. Of course, Kansas City is the odds-on favorite, of course. 2-time AFC champions back-to-back. Of course, my Buffalo Bills are right there as well. Pittsburgh's definitely in the mix. Baltimore in the mix. Watch out for Cleveland. And keep an eye out for Tennessee and some other teams. We'll get into that soon enough. But at the end of our show, we're gonna we have an announcement about very exciting content on this program within the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. But for right now, MF and I absolutely like this move. We love this move for him. He deserves it. He's a great coach. That team is just so fun to watch, and I'm glad that he's going to be around for a few more years. And we'll wait and see. I mean, they started 11-0. It looked like they were going to be the team to beat. But then they stumbled down the stretch, going 1-5 after that, including that loss to Cleveland in the wild card round. So wait and see what happens with that. But congratulations to Mike Tomlin, a well-deserved extension. So not much more to say here. These final 2 stories, MF will be taking us for a spin on that. So, MF, first up, there's this European soccer Super League thing that you wanted to get into. I know absolutely nothing about this, so the floor is yours. What's going on with this?
Okay, this really, out of all the news, and Anthony, I know you were saying that, well, there's really nothing in the way of news in the United States, but this story dominated throughout the world. And this was one of those stories that even if there was not going to be a show tonight, I was going to get into this because this had to be addressed. It was that big of a news story. What had happened was on Saturday, and this goes all the way back to Saturday, that there was rumblings that some of the biggest soccer teams in the world was going to create a super league. It was going to become a rival of the UEFA Champions League. What this super league was going to be was 6 teams from England: Manchester United, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, and Liverpool, along with 3 teams from Italy: AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, 3 teams from Spain, which was Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid, and I believe PSG, and I believe there was one other country that was supposed to be added. All in all, these were going to be the 12 founding members of this league. And what was going to happen was they were going to do a tournament, 18 weeks, where 20 teams were going to play, and they were going to do this format where at the end there was going to be a tournament, and once the tournament ends, it was going to be a champion was going to be crowned. But here's where the problem lied. In order for them to do this, they would had to break away from the European Council. Basically, the company that does the UEFA Champions League, any competitions that they wanted it to do, they had to break away. The league itself, each team was going to bankroll $6 billion if they would have succeeded with this. Now, right out of the gate was universally a rejection of this from UEFA, from all the soccer federations in England, in Germany, in France, Italy, you name it, everybody hated it. This thing was basically a monopoly. What they were saying was this was greed from ownership, from the top, that wanted to make the money and keep it for themselves and shut everybody out. One person actually said, Sir Alex Ferguson, who was the manager of Manchester United, he said point blank, if this happens, it would be the end of soccer as we know it in Europe. This would have destroyed European soccer as we knew it. Right out of the gate, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund and PSG from France all said no. We don't want a part of this. We don't want anything to do with this league. I know you wanted to get us in. No way, no how. We don't want nothing to do with this. This is rebelsome as we know it. You're trying to cause anarchy. We're loyal to the UEFA. So no, we're not budging. No. So after all this, you had UEFA coming out and saying, if you pull this stunt, if you try to pull any type of revelry in this stunt, you are going to pay an ultimate price, guys. you better think about this long and hard, and you better not do what you guys are planning on doing. And then FIFA, the governing body of all soccer, they stepped in and they dropped a nuke saying if any player decides to play in this European Super League, you are going to be banned from playing in the FIFA World Cup. That was the big drop of the bomb, because all of a sudden, think about this, Anthony. Cristiano Ronaldo, Mbappe, Lionel Messi, because all these teams are part of that, would have been a part of that Super League, they would not have been allowed to play in the upcoming World Cup next year. That would have been devastating, not only for the fans, not to see their greatest players out there, but it also affected every club in every country as we know it, including the United States, because Christian Pulisic, who's one of the top American players right now, he plays for Chelsea. Chelsea was one of those teams that could have gotten into that Super League, and if they would have held true and held firm to what they were threatening, Christian Pulisic would have been ineligible to play for the United States if the U.S. got into the World Cup. That would have been a devastating blow to the USA. Devastating blow. So, all of a sudden, there was a lot of wrangling going on. A lot of people were angry. Fans were not happy. As a matter of fact, some of the fans of some of the teams that were trying to get into the Super League, they had protests. Yeah, protests at their campsites where they play. And there wasn't just a few hundred. There was a couple thousand people voicing their displeasure about trying to create this Super League. All of a sudden, within the last few days, Anthony, all of the England teams have dropped out. They're out of the Super League. They do not want to be a part of it now. There's actually only 3 teams that are still kind of on this Super League bandwagon right now, which is Juventus of Italy, Real Madrid in Spain, and Barcelona in Spain. These 3 teams are holding out while everybody else has already dropped out of the Super League. So the threats are very real, and there was a lot of discontent, a lot of anger, it was an uprising, to say the very least, that I've never seen in my life. And this was phenomenal what they did. The soccer community banded together. They knew what was happening. They could not believe what they were hearing about this Super League, and it really stirred the pot big time. Now, a lot of people were wondering, why was this happening? Why did the big teams want to do a Super League? Well, here's the reason why. Because of the fact that UEFA has turned around and has announced a new format for the UEFA Champions League. And that is that they're expanding the league from 32 teams to 48 teams. So there's a bigger pie or a bigger allowance of teams that's going to be in it. But the weird fact that they're going to do is that they're going to do a round robin where everybody's going to be together. So the way that they're going to do it is they're going to pair up the teams, and you got to play 10 teams along the way. 5 home, 5 away. The top teams from that record, and they're all going to be part of one group. There is not going to be a group stage. But once you get through that, I think the top 32 automatically qualifies for the next round. And then it goes into the traditional World Cup format style, which is which I think it goes after that. It goes, I don't know if it's 32 or 16, and then it breaks down what they normally traditionally do, 2 legs, basically a home and away, and it's through aggregate scoring. So they combine the 2 scores of the 2 games, and the team with the best scoring moves on to the next round, all the way up until the championship game, where once you play the championship game, it's 1 game, winner take all, and that does that. So it's almost like the equivalent of the Super Bowl. Winner take all. First, no 2-game series, no nothing. 1 game, you have at it. Best team wins the trophy. Wins Le Tour, which is the championship trophy of the UEFA Champions League. You become the European champions. So that's why you had that going on. So there's definitely a power struggle going on, and this is still a fluid situation. It's still a fluid situation right now. So the European Union is supposed to come out, and they're talking about possible punishment for these teams that wanted it to rebel against the European model and that was trying to break away from the Champions League. Now, how's that going to look? We don't know. All we know is, as of now, the Spanish Federation said that they are not going to punish Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid for trying to break away. They've already said they're not doing nothing to them, so don't ask them. The Italian Federation has said the same thing. For AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Juventus, they're doing nothing. No punishment coming from them. They got nothing for us, so don't even worry about it. England hasn't done any punishment. They did hint that they do want to punish the teams, but we haven't heard anything from them as of yet. So that's still a fluid situation. And as far as UEFA goes, the only thing that they're hinting about is that they want to punish the owners. They're not going to go after the players. They're not after their fans. They're after the ownerships. They're after the general managers. They're after their directors. They're after these guys because they feel like these are the people that kind of perpetrated what was possibly a major coup. And that's why you got that going on. So you got this going on. There's a lot of drama. I mean, this was insane. I'm going to say, Anthony, it was riveting television for, I want to say, the last 3 or 4 days, because it started on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday was chaos, absolute chaos, all over the place. And it seems like it simmered down a little bit, but now we're hearing that there might be sanctions coming, so we might have more to the story. I'm going to monitor this, and if there is more to report, I will. Personally and professionally, I think what the teams were trying to do was absolutely disgraceful. This was insubordination in the highest regard, more than ever before. And the thing is that I cannot believe that, and I really feel bad because I feel like it was American capitalism that was going to take over the European game. And oddly enough, the Glazer family, the family that owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they own Manchester United. John Henry, who was one time a principal owner of the Boston Red Sox, he owns Liverpool FC right now. And the company that was gonna fund for this European Super League is JP Morgan, one of the biggest, wealthiest banking organizations in the United States. So definitely, I hate to say it, but the Yankees, as they like to affectionately call us, from over in the Queensland over there, unfortunately, our hands was caught in the cookie jar this time around, and we got caught badly. Genjutsu, man, Uchiha clan came out, man, and we got ourselves into a very sticky situation. So let's just say international relations between the U.S. and England is not really too good right about now. So like I said, I'm not responsible for it. UK, you know we love you guys. I'm with you guys. I support you 100%. Do whatever you got to do. Punish these owners. If you want to ban them from any committees that they need to do, by all means, nail them to the freaking wall. Because what they were trying to do was literally try to destroy your sport. And there is almost 100 to 200 years of legacy with some of these soccer teams, and a whole bunch of money-grubbing, greedy, selfish individuals literally try to take down your sport. This was Anthony. Let me put you at this to an assumption. Just to give you a layman's terms of what was happening. So you're a big NFL guy. You're a big hockey guy. All right. Let's say this. Let's go with the original six. Let's say the original six was unhappy with the NHL, and they decide that they want to break away from the NHL to do their own Super League. But here's the kicker. They want to keep all the money that they were going to make and shut the NHL out. And the NHL would have no money whatsoever. They don't get any of the profits, any of the luxury, the concessions, the TV rights, that it would go just merely to those big six, to the original six, and nobody else gets that money. That's exactly what the Super League was trying to do. That the organizations were all going to benefit from this, and nobody else was going to get anything from it. That's why there was such a major stink that went down. And it was basically one of the most despicable things and despicable acts I've ever seen in professional sports. So, I mean, the greed was definitely there, and it was palpable what they were trying to do, what they were thinking of doing. It's very unfortunate that it came down to that. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible situation that broke out. But I'm very happy that, that at least some of the teams have woken up, realized the error of their ways, and has gotten away from the Super League. Because trust me, nobody was going to win with the Super League. A lot of the companies, or a lot of the companies that normally does the advertising or to do some of the promotional stuff, they said they were not going to do it. So you weren't going to have any of the big organizations to help you out. And then TV rights, I don't know if they would have gotten any TV rights for it, because I know a lot of people were not happy with it at all. So, I mean, this was a complete and utter mess. And, they were very fortunate and very lucky that, now a lot of the teams have backed away. Like I said, all of the England teams have backed out. Basically, almost every team except for 3 from the original plan were a part of it. But now all of a sudden, it was interesting. Now they're saying that there's binding contracts and there's a lot of hoopla going around, and I don't know. I don't know what to even think at this point. All we know is that by all intents and purposes, the Super League is dead. the European Super League is dead. It's not going to happen. This was not their first time that they were attempting this. I think this is like the third time that they were trying to do it. I know they tried to do it in 2017. They were trying to figure something out. And I know in 2012 or 2013, they were trying to do something, and they both failed on this. This was the biggest threat they've ever had of a Super League happening. And this was real serious, like beyond what I've ever seen in my life. So Anthony, that's what happened this week. So like you said, maybe it was a slow week in the United States, but trust me, brother, outside of the U.S., there was some explosions happening, man. World War III was breaking out.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary to think about. So, but one last order of business this evening, MF, this weekend, this Saturday, it's going to be UFC 261.
Yeah.
It'll be at the Jacksonville Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. And this show is going to be historic for two reasons. One, we're going to see 3 championship matches. And on top of that, am I hearing this correctly? Full capacity for this show?
Full capacity. It is sold out. SRO signs are up already for this show. It is going to be an incredible night. Great fight card of UFC. I mean, in total, I mean, we're talking 15 fights, guys. That's how crazy we're talking. But hold on. So the entire fight card starts at 5:00 or at almost before 6. It starts at 5:55, and we got 4 fights in the early prelims. Dana Parkel versus Kevin Navid. Then you got Kuza Vargas versus Ranga Ziga. Then we got Jeremy Molina, and he's going up against Agua de Quinta. And then Lia Nang versus Ariane Kurzensikov. And then on the prelims, that's going to be on ESPN. That's supposed to be on ESPN and on ESPN Plus, if you got that. We got another round of 5 fights altogether. We got Tristan Colony versus Patrick Zaptini. We had Brandon Allen versus Carl Robinson. We also got Stefan Sukic versus Dwight Grant. And in their main event, in the prelims, Randy Brown goes one-on-one against Alex Oliveira. And then once we get to the main card, Anthony, this card is loaded. We start off in a light heavyweight bout. Anthony Smith to go one-on-one with Jim Crew. Then in a big middleweight fight, this is one that I think a lot of people were ready to see. Former middleweight champion of the world, Chris Weidman, he's going to go one-on-one versus a man that, Anthony, you remember very well. If you remember the Ultimate Fighter days, he was an Ultimate Fighter winner, Uriah Hall. He goes one-on-one with Chris Weidman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we get into the 3 mega main events, a triple main event, like you said. First off, we got is Jessica Andrade. She'll be facing off with Valentina Shevchenko. This is for the UFC Women's Flyweight Championship of the world. Let me tell you guys, Valentina Shevchenko has been the most dominating in the 125. She's literally wiped out the entire division. Jessica Andrade is the only one that stands in her way. If Valentina Shevchenko wins this fight, there's already calls for her to fight Amanda Nunes. And Anthony, I can already tell you, if Valentina Shevchenko and Amanda Nunes go at it and they fight,
Huge.
it will be the biggest women's bout in the history of UFC history.
Bigger than Ronda Rousey?
Bigger than Rousey.
Wow.
Bigger than Rousey. Because these two women has destroyed their respective divisions. Amanda Nunes is the 135 and 145 champion, and she's wiped both those divisions out. Valentina Shevchenko, ever since she went to 125, she's wiped the division out. Everybody that she's faced, she's destroyed. And she's destroyed in such a unique way. So Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade is without a doubt one of the biggest battles that we've ever had in UFC history. And I mean, when we talk about the best of the best, I mean, Valentina Shevchenko is 20 wins and 3 losses. And she has won the last 11 fights in a row. The only loss she's ever suffered in her career, and she's suffered 3. The last time she's lost was literally when she lost to Amanda Nunes. Now, the thing was, Amanda Nunes was still rising up, and these two girls were just starting out. Like, they weren't world-class championship contenders yet. They were still feeling each other out. These were kind of two that were working their way up. I think they were fighting at 135, and Amanda Nunes won by decision. It was a close decision, but she won by decision. Amanda Nunes is now pound for pound the best female fighter in the world. If you want the number 2 best fighter in the world, pound for pound, it's Valentina Shevchenko. There's no doubt about it. Valentina Shevchenko is without a doubt one of the best female fighters in the world. And Jessica Andrade, I wish her nothing but the best, but she's got a tall order because, like I said, with Shevchenko, she's going to have to figure out how she's going to try to win this, and I don't know if she's going to be able to do it. I got Valentina Shevchenko successfully defending her title. Now, the next main event match is for the Women's Strawweight Championship, which is Zia Weili versus Rose Thug Namajunas. Now, this is interesting because this is a rematch. Zia won the title from Rose, and Rose won her title when she beat who did she beat to win the title? She knocked off, let me see, hold on one second. I apologize, folks. Because Rose Namajunas, she actually beat, there was one fighter that she fought, and she was at the time one of the best fighters in the world, and she knocked her out. I'm trying to remember who that was. Let's see if I can get it here. All right, here it is. She knocked off Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That's right. So she knocked off Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She won the title and basically won the UFC, and she basically won the UFC strawweight title. Then she got upsetted and lost to Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade in turn lost the title to Zia Weili, and now Zia owns the title, and she's had the belt ever since. Now, a lot of people has thought that this is going to be a big fight, and let me tell you, Rose is a gamer. She's one of the toughest, hard-hitting fighters out there, but let me tell you, Zia is without a doubt, she's bad, man. She's one of the best champions that we've had in a long time. She's dominated, and she's only lost one time. She's only lost one time in her career. Zia is, without a doubt, one of the best fighters in the world, and she's got a real tough competitor coming up. This is going to be, without a doubt, one of the best championship battles that we've ever had. If she can do it, she could also be in the conversation for best fighter in the world. And she just came off a fight of the night, 5-star classic over Joanna Jędrzejczyk, which was about a year ago. It was around March of 2020. And dude, that fight was absolutely mind-boggling what they did. A lot of people thought that Joanna won the title. A lot of people thought Zia was successfully defended, and it was, without a doubt, one of the best fights I've ever seen in my career, and it was amazing, man. One of the best women's fights I've ever seen in UFC history, and that now we're gonna see Zia versus Rose, and I think that could be another 5-star classic. So we got that going down. And in the main event for the UFC welterweight championship of the world, Kamaru Usman puts the title on the line against Jorge Masvidal, the BMF champion of the world. Yes, I know. A lot of people are like, wait a minute, BMF, what does that mean? I'm not allowed to say it live. I can't say that. I can't say it because A, it's Anthony's show, and B, I don't want to get him in trouble. So I can't call him that. I'm not going to call him that. You know what it means. BMF. You know what it is, guys. You don't need for me to say it. So this is going to be a great fight. Jorge Masvidal has looked really good lately, has had a couple of good wins, had a fight of the night, a knockout of the year not too long ago, and then he just beat the living daylights out of Nate Diaz. And Kamaru Usman, dude, the guy's just unbelievable. He's one of the best, the Nigerian Nightmare. Without a doubt, these guys are gonna bring it. We already know that this is gonna be a heck of a championship fight. When you got Usman versus Masvidal, when it's going to go down, guys, there's really nothing more to add. Kamaru Usman shocked the world not too long ago where he basically beat the living daylights out of Colby Covington. Colby Covington was the baddest dude in the world. He was one of the best fighters in the world. And all of a sudden, they go in, and he absolutely just destroyed right before our very eyes. And it was, I'm going to say it was a pleasant surprise. I was very happy because I'm going to say I'm not a fan of Colby Covington at all. Usman handled his business, kicked the living daylights out of him. Well-deserved beat down, deservingly so. And Usman, man, I mean, he is on I'm going to say this. He has won. His career record is 18-1. He's won 16 in a row going in. He's undefeated in the UFC. He's never lost in the UFC. He is actually 12-0 in the UFC right now. He's never lost a fight. Every fight he has won up to this point, the last 2 out of the last 3 fights, he's ended by TKO. 2 out of the last 3 has been ended by TKO. So this is going to be an absolute barn burner. And plus, on top of that, now he's got to fight one of the biggest dudes, Jorge Masvidal. Like I said, cornbread Jorge Masvidal, even though the record seems a little crazy because of the fact that, you know, he fought that, and this is actually a rematch because, like I said, the first fight that they did, So he actually won the fight. He won the last three, which was between Darren Till, Ben Askren. Well, the Ben Askren, oh my God, he knocked him out in 5 seconds, knee to the face, and it was over. And then, of course, which was for the UFC BMF title, which was against Nate Diaz. He beat him, finished him after 3 rounds. Fought Kamaru Usman about a year. I want to say back in July, which was in Abu Dhabi, and that fight was for the welterweight title. Usman won the fight by unanimous decision. And I do believe that was a pretty easy scoring fight. I don't think there was any. I don't think there was any argument that Usman won. Yeah, 50-45, 50-45, 49-46, unanimous decision. So here we are, the biggest fight, and now Cornbread's looking for some payback. Usman versus Masvidal once again for the UFC welterweight championship of the world this Saturday night, Jacksonville, Florida. It's a sellout. You guys can watch it on ESPN Plus, the official home of the UFC. So, nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, there's your preview for UFC.
All right, very good, MF. Very informative there, and yep, that will put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. But hold on, before we sign off, we want to let you know next Thursday night we are not going to have a show out of respect for the NFL draft. We're not going to do a Strictly Sports show next Thursday night, but we do have for the 2 weeks following that, we have 2 very exciting Strictly Sports shows that we're going to share with you right here and now. Thursday, May 6th will be our annual Strictly Sports NFL Draft Recap show. You know how that works. But for anybody who doesn't know, we run down each team and we grade each team based on their picks. The following week, Thursday, May 13th, this is one of my favorite shows of the year. Our annual Strictly Sports NFL schedule release special. The biggest season in NFL history, 17 games, 18 weeks. We're going to go through all that. And we're going to, each week we'll run down we'll look at the games that are going to go down for each week, and we'll pick out which games that we feel are the standouts. So cannot wait for that. So with that will put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, MF, over on Braves Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk. And I know MF has another big news story that he wants to share regarding Major League Wrestling Fusion. Some big news came out during the week. I'm not going to give that away. I already know what it is. So definitely looking forward to MF and what he has to say about that in his Mikey's mindset. And then Monday, we got Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw. And, of course, I will have a recap of the Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view. MF, if you want to join me on that, you're more than welcome, as always. And we'll do a special Tony's Take on that. And then Wednesday, of course, Wednesday Night Mayhem, the all-new Wednesday Night Mayhem, NXT, AEW Dynamite, as always. No show next week, and then we go from there. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dede Woodson, and the newly named Yankee Messiah 401, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday, and until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.